All right. Well, today we are still expecting more storms, unfortunately. And of course, the National Weather Service will be going out later today to survey some of those areas that were hardest hit to see what kind of damage there was, how strong the wind was, and potentially how strong those tornadoes were as well. Right now, it's pretty quiet. It's overcast, it's warm, and it's humid. Temperatures are in the low 70s. Satellite and radar much quieter than where we were yesterday. Now, we are still seeing some showers and storms to our north and east, but they are pretty weak at this point. Everything continues to weaken and go away. So this is just over the past hour, so just a few showers to our north and east. Here's the deal. Later today, it's going to be hot, humid, and breezy. I expect to see some sunshine later today, but if you're going to be out and about, you have to stay weather aware, because after about 3 o'clock, some of the latest data coming in still gives us additional showers and thunderstorms that could pop up just west of DFW and eventually move into the Metroplex. So right now, I've got about a 20% coverage. Not everyone will see these storms, but if these storms do develop, they will be capable of up to golf ball size hail, wind gust over 50 miles an hour, and there will still be that low tornado threat late this afternoon and into the evening. So for now, the Metroplex and areas to the west, we're still going to be in that slight risk for seeing some severe storms. So on a level from 1 to 5, we're going to be at a level 2. It's not very high, but nonetheless, they could be intense if they do develop later today. We're going to talk more about that timecast, show you what we're expecting hour by hour coming up in just a little bit. Janelle, your notice is over near Wichita Falls. You can see all those tornado reports. This is when that one supercell initiated and it started dropping just several tornadoes. So that's why we have several tornado reports. That supercell was a slow mover. It just kept going all the way through the Metroplex, eventually weakening, but not before obviously doing quite a bit of damage. So what you're seeing here are a lot of hail and wind reports, but I wouldn't be surprised if when the National Weather Service does do their surveys today, if they do find some actual tornado damage versus just that straight line wind damage. The reports that you're seeing closer to the Red River near Sherman and Bottom, that is actually where we're seeing lots of hail reports from earlier this morning and late last night. Now, right now it's pretty quiet, just overcast, warm, it's a little breezy, it is humid. It's going to be hot and humid later today. And the clouds, well, we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds as we go throughout the afternoon, but we're also expecting a chance that more rain and storms do develop. So this is going to be noon today, and for the most part around midday, it does look quiet. But as we get to about 3, 4 o'clock, the latest data starts to bring in a couple of isolated showers and thunderstorms in a very similar area to what we had yesterday. So out ahead of the dry line, which is going to be in between Gainesville, Decatur, and Mineral Wells. So this is going to be 5 o'clock, and these storms, if they were to develop, have the potential of becoming strong to severe, potentially producing some hail, some wind, and there's going to be a low-end tornado threat. Now, some of that data does not keep them around very long, but nonetheless, we're just going to have to watch that. Overnight tonight, it looks pretty quiet, and then for the most part, Monday also looks pretty quiet. I think it does look dry on Monday, but on Tuesday, as we get towards, especially later in the afternoon and evening, some of the data starts to bring in more rain and storms, and these will also have the potential of becoming severe. So this is going to be noon on Tuesday, and it looks like rain and storms will once again form in the north and west, eventually making their way through the Metroplex late in the afternoon and into the early evening. By after about 8, 9 o'clock or so, most of the storms will have weakened quite a bit and move off to the east, but still at Tuesday at about 10 o'clock, we could still have some rain around. So for this afternoon and evening, the Metroplex and areas to the north and west will be in that slight risk of seeing golf ball size hail, 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts or higher, and there will be that low tornado threat. We're skipping Monday because I really don't see a whole lot going on Monday, but on Tuesday afternoon and evening, now we've got that slight risk coming back for at least parts of the Metroplex and areas to the north and east this time, while areas to the south and west will just have a slightly lower risk of seeing severe storms. Something else we're going to talk about is just the fact that it's going to continue to be hot and humid all the way through Tuesday until we can get that cold front to come through. I am still forecasting a high of about 90 degrees today. That would tie the record of 90 set back in 1955. Tomorrow we could tie the record of 92 from 1987, and then on Tuesday I'm forecasting a high of 90, but the record that day is 93. Towards the end of the week, it gets significantly cooler with highs dropping down into the low 60s. So if you prefer that, there is some of that in there as well. Today though, an isolated shower storm is possible late this afternoon and early evening. Not everyone's going to see storms. Overnight tonight, though, we look partly cloudy and dry for everyone. Temperatures drop into the upper 60s. Tomorrow, partly cloudy and dry, still hot and humid, though. We have a chance of storms almost every day this week, the exception being on Monday. The chance looks high on Tuesday. It also looks pretty high on Thursday and into Friday. This second half of that for today, so that started basically right over around Wichita Falls, and that is where we had several tornado touchdowns, tornado reports, and then eventually this storm was more of a hail and wind producer, but we could still have seen some isolated tornado touchdowns. But again, the Weather Service is going to come out later today and see exactly what happened and follow that path. But it definitely left a trail of destruction. Now, there was also some storms very late last night, early this morning along the Red River, and most of those were just hail reports of up to about golf ball size hail. Right now, things are pretty quiet though, but you can already tell that it's starting out very similar to yesterday. We've got the low clouds, we have areas of fog, it is warm, it is humid, and we've got a breeze coming in out of the southeast. Satellite and radar showing the storms that we had very late last night, early this morning continue to fall apart. They continue to weaken, and we're not concerned with those anymore. But as we go throughout the afternoon, I think we're going to see a mix of sun and clouds. The atmosphere is going to be plenty unstable. We've got a dry line out to the west, and the latest data still brings in some isolated storms just north and west of the Metroplex, but these will very much have the potential of becoming severe, a lot like what we had yesterday. Now, it doesn't look like they last all evening long, but nonetheless, they could still hang out across parts of Decatur. It looks like just west of Denton, moving into parts of Fort Worth and Mineral Wells. These would still have the potential of being strong to severe, and eventually some of the latest data brings them right into the heart of the Metroplex across Dallas and eventually into Waxahachie before weakening by about 10 o'clock tonight in between Canton and Athens. And then overnight tonight, it looks pretty quiet. By tomorrow morning, there could be a couple of isolated showers, but for the most part, most of tomorrow does look dry, but I think we keep some clouds around. The next day that has a little bit of a concern is really going to be on Tuesday. It looks like by Tuesday morning, things are going to be pretty quiet, but by about midday, we're going to have some rain and storms develop to our north and west, just south of Wichita Falls. They start to strengthen a little bit through the afternoon, and then as we get into early evening, they're just going to be south and east of the Metroplex, but they could still pose a strong to severe weather threat. By about 10 o'clock on Tuesday evening, it looks like that severe threat would then eventually go away, but we could still have some showers around. So as we get into later today, it looks like they've actually updated the severe weather threat. So we're going to be in that slight risk of seeing some severe storms across the Metroplex, but farther north and east you go, that threat will be higher. As we get into Tuesday, though, Tuesday, we are still looking at that threat of seeing some severe storms. But right now, we're still going to be in that slight risk across the Metroplex and areas to the north and east, while to the south and west, it's going to be in that marginal risk. Not only will we have the chance of storms over the next several days, but we're also talking about record heat. Today, we're forecasting a high of about 90 degrees. That would tie the record high of 90 degrees from back in 1955. We've got the cold front coming in by Tuesday night. So for Wednesday, it starts to cool down a little bit, and highs will only be in the low 60s towards the end of the week. So for today, partly cloudy, record warmth, but isolated storms are possible late this afternoon to early evening, probably after about 3 or 4 o'clock to the west, eventually moving into the Metroplex if they do develop. Tonight, though, temperatures drop into the upper 60s. We're staying very warm and humid for the next few days. We've got the cold front moving in by Tuesday night. Every day except for tomorrow being the one exception for now,